One wheel, featuring 26 of the strongest stands in all of JoJo's bizarre adventure. One Gojo Satoru. How many of these stands does it take to kill the honored one? And with me today, I've got my man Metas.
Hello, I'm the Jojo guy.
Let's spin this wheel first and get right to it.
I really hope we get Green Day because it's just gonna be hilarious. I just want to see the theater. No way. No shot.
Future sight. No way.
I actually.
You pre-watched this.
I might have be crazy like that. I might actually just have King Crimson. I've been told I have. Green Day is a very interesting stand because it relies on distance. So immediately off of that, to give a very, very quick description of how Green Day's stand ability works is the higher in elevation you are compared to your opponent, a bacteria-like organism will start to form, and it will just slowly, how do I say this? Not decompose your body, but like slowly corrode your body. As long as Chocolata, the stand user, is just higher than you, you will just slowly just start breaking down. Immediately knowing how Gojo works and his abilities and it wouldn't happen. Like Gojo would just be like, okay, you're just gonna stand on a building higher than me? What are you doing? And then like Chocolata would be like, what is going on here? My stand ability should be working. And hollow purple to the dome. So like this one's like clear in favor. I don't even think he needs Limitless. I think he literally just clobbers him. This is a no diff. If there was a definition for a no diff matchup, it's this one.
The worst part is with Gojo is like canonically this man can literally fly. So like just being able to like get above Chocolata is gonna be so easy for him to do. I mean, like, and the worst part with the 6 eyes too, depending on, I'm sure there's plenty of people in the comments that are going to say the 6 eyes won't be able to figure out stand abilities. But like just going off of the base of 6 eyes, if the 6 eyes works in the JoJo verse like that, he's going to know what every stand ability is doing. So like, he's going to be like, okay, I just need to get higher than your ability. That's fine. That's easy for me. Let me just jump up.
You know what? I'm going to be meat riding a little bit here. It's like, he doesn't even need to know like the stand ability in general in this matchup. Like, this is a matchup dependent fight because it's like nothing would be happening. He'd just be standing there. Gojo would just be like, what's going on? You're like, so
let me ask you this. Let me ask you this then. Would you at all, because my big question to this is, how do you think the mold, like how tiny are these mold particles that are transpiring? Because the Limitless does only work up into subatomic particles to let air in, to let light in, everything like that. So like if the mold is transpiring through the air specifically, as it mentions, it has to be of small enough denomination, if it is, to also be like merged with like that oxygen particle. So if it's getting through the Limitless.
Since there's like a lot of like unknown knowledge here with Green Day in those specific areas, it just depends. Because I'm really thinking here, I'm big braining, start putting the memes up on screen. It just depends how you look at it. If you really think the mold is like on like a air molecule level in terms of size and it slowly builds up over time, maybe you can say Green Day can actually heavily injure a Gojo, but he's extremely durable. Look at the Sukuna fight. So I don't really think if he were to lose an arm or a leg, he's really going to be like dying over here. He'll be fine.
Again, he can just fly too. He can just get upwards and stop the mold immediately.
No matter how you look at the smaller details, it's Gojo going to be like, oh shit, let me get to his level. All of a sudden the stand ability stops working. Hollow purple. It's game over.
Honestly, the most generous feat you're giving Chocolata is the fact that Gojo would require hollow purple to murk this man off the face of the earth. I know.
It's just funny. I'm giving the editor just like an excuse just to fucking play the meme repeatedly.
Green Day's out of here, and then we're gonna roll this again. Gojo got really lucky, and also we confirmed Meta to have precognition. So 2 things happened in this one small feat. Let's see what's going on next.
Oh, you gotta be crazy.
It's Tusk. This is where you come in, buddy boy.
To put this in perspective, we had the most easy matchup for Gojo. Now fighting his literally, I think, out of everybody on this list, this might be the 2nd or 3rd extreme difficult fight ever. So hold on, I actually gotta sit up. I'm going gamer mode real quick. I had to crank up my chair differently.
Locked in.
I'm locked in. So to look at this, there's only 2 viable versions of Tusk that are going to be good here. So Johnny Joestar has 4 versions of his stand ability. He has Tusk Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, and Act 4. Act 1 doesn't matter here. It's an extremely bad ability. It's the stand in its fledgling levels. It's like a level 5 Pokemon. Doesn't matter. Act 2 is his most common use of Tusk, but it won't be good here either. It's not going to do any damage. Now, Act 3 and Act 4 are extremely interesting. So Johnny is a paraplegic, but thanks to Tusk Act 3, once he shoots it with himself, it's show the panel on screen. He can now travel within his bullet. So Tusk is able to shoot fingernails that are able to infinitely spin. Now with Act 3, it's not infinite, it's supposedly infinite, but there's a whole bunch of gimmicks that come with it, and more or less Johnny's able to travel inside his nail bullet holes that he leaves around once the bullets make contact with the surface. So now he can move anywhere now. He's like a crazy ass sniper with it. The only reason why I'm bringing up this one is because Gojo can't touch the hole. Knowing how Infinity works and all the extra stuff that comes with Gojo, if Gojo were to touch the nail bullet that Johnny is presiding in, more likely than not, he will lose a limb, even with Infinity, because within the bullet, if I'm remembering the panel correctly with Gyro, within that nail bullet that Johnny is presiding in, it is infinitely spinning, so it can infinitely travel and hit Gojo. So it will hurt, but that's not the thing we're talking about here, because I know what everybody wants. Tusk Act 4. So Act 4 is like the say-all be-all in this discussion. So Act 4 and its entire purpose is able to get through any defense. And at this level, with the spin, because it's in combination with Tusk, it's able to produce an infinite amount of energy. Now, I have to give the background knowledge for all the JJK fans that don't know. Tusk Act 4 went up against a character with a very similar ability to Gojo. While it's not an infinite power, it's an extremely powerful barrier that takes a lot of energy to pierce through it. D4C Love Train. I don't think we have that variation of Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap on this list. We just have the regular version. But with Love Train, he just has this wall that nobody can enter. He's basically impenetrable. Nobody can defeat him. Until Act 4 shows up, where once Johnny uses Tusk Act 4, it's able to pierce the barrier because it has an infinite amount of power running through that bullet. That is not hyperbole. That's how the ability works. It's an infinite powered bullet or nail bullet. Also, it travels, by the way. It's not like, oh, it's shot and missed. No, it actually hard locks too. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, like it would like be similar to like the world bisecting cleave almost, you're saying, right? With like the pinpoint, yes. Like he could, like Johnny would be able to say, all right, this is aimed at you, Gojo, and it's gonna hit you regardless of how much space is in between me and you.
Okay, you're giving a little bit, you're meat writing too much. Hold on, Noah. No, you're meat writing. So it does have one drawback. It can't differentiate between friend and foe. So if Gojo was smart enough and dodged out of the way with a paraplegic, he can hit Johnny with his own ability. But that's extremely hard to do, and you have to have some knowledge before that. Actually, the only way to beat Tusk, to our knowledge, is having prep time, and I'm assuming Gojo doesn't have any prep time with this fight happening.
I guess, like I said, if we're going to go based off the previous 6 eyes scaling, I guess Gojo would immediately be able to deduce everything that's going on as soon as he meets up with Johnny, but...
Yeah, so I keep on I keep on beating around the bush, but basically what I'm saying here is Johnny with the infinite bullet is able to pierce a barrier that in the universe, in the JoJo universe, should have not been able to be pierced. So the common consensus, because this is actually an extremely popular matchup, even I want to cover it in more in depth. So what would end up happening here is Johnny would shoot the bullet, it would hit Gojo, it would pass Infinity because, you know, it's Infinity, the bullet's already traveling at that, not at that level, but it has enough power to pierce through that. And so Gojo would get hit by it and he would instantly die. The bullet instantly kills you. It hits you with an infinite amount of energy, and you spin your body, all your cells individually spin for infinity. You instantly die. The only way to stop an infinite Act 4 bullet is shooting it with a reverse spin of whatever previous shot you fired. So if Gojo gets hit by this ability, he is fucked. However, and this is the part everybody glosses over, because I don't know why JoJo fans gloss over this fact, is the Act 4 bullet and its prep time for it to shoot is a bit finicky. The super spin, which is required for Tusk Act 4 to be active, requires a lot of, like, not prep time, but specific conditions to occur. So if Johnny doesn't have these specific conditions, he's not going to be able to shoot the bullet off. Gojo does have some time to retaliate. This is why I said Act 3 might be useful here, because Johnny could hide in the bullet, and now Gojo has to play this cat and mouse game of, I can't hit you because, you know, if I put my hand in there, my hand's going to infinitely break apart in the bullet.
So what you're saying is that would be the literal perfect time for hitting him with a domain expansion, unlimited void,
or if you can catch him outside of the bullet hole, a hollow purple.
I think personally, if the conditions are set up correctly and Gojo doesn't know what he is fighting and the bullet, like even if the bullet misses or it lands directly, it's going to pass infinity. Limitless isn't going to be useful here. He's just going to die. He's just going to spin infinitely and he'll just crumple and fall. But if Johnny does not have the specific conditions set up for Act 4 to be used, it could be in Gojo's favor. So it's a very interesting matchup. I'm not going to say it's 50-50 exactly, but it is very cool. It's a very interesting one. I like it a lot, actually. So I'm glad we got this one.
Infinite spin is pretty rough against infinite space. He can't really do much against it. I guess the only hope he has, beat Johnny in hands.
Oh no, he definitely can. I'll just state this: Johnny is nothing without his stand. Unless it's like a part 8 Johnny, which he can actually like move around and stuff. Other than stand stuff, he has like no combat experience. He's compared to the other Joestars, he's not really like an incredibly capable fighter. If he doesn't get it off or something happens with his horse, which is totally plausible, it is more likely in Gojo's favor, unless somehow Johnny big brains it with Act 3 and makes like Gojo like touch the bullet and then get inside it.
Are the Act 3 bullet holes able to be like attacked by anything besides just like physical form? Like if Gojo fires like a red or a blue where it's literally just positive or negative force, like would that have any kind of effect on the infinite holes?
I don't think it would, because I think how it's shown in Civil War is anything that just comes in contact with it, that's not it being on the surface of something, just gets instantly eaten up and destroyed, like in the hole itself.
Now, so do you think is that something that like Johnny would be able to put on Gojo specifically? Like
this is an extremely interesting conversation, because depending on not the guides you use, but some of the they're not really stand stats, they're just like short stand descriptions in part 7. Even the Act 2 bullet is said to be spinning infinitely, but not like true infinitely. It just has a lot of power behind it. He in Act 3, he surpasses anything any of the Zeppelins were to do with a spin regularly. Like he's fully transcended it in his Act 3 form. He somehow surpasses all of the previous Zeppeli's knowledges with the spin. And for anybody who doesn't know, I forgot to explain this. The spin is like the new Hamon in part 7. It has a lot of interesting abilities. It's basically used to just execute people. It's an extremely medical based ability is the way I would like to say it, because if you know how to use the spin, you know how to manipulate the human body. I don't know if it would necessarily pierce him. I'd have to do way more research on this.
TBD.
But they could. Yeah, it's to be continued. There's a lot of, I think there's 2 more matchups on this wheel that require a whole video.
Yeah, that would definitely something that if you want to see a little bit more in depth in the comments, definitely feel free to let us know. Always a possibility. Let's leave this as it is and let's roll the wheel again. Overall, the whole point of this video is just to show like how kind of crazy it is, like how many of these abilities are just able to just get such a crazy workaround to an ability that just outright negs the entire verse. Oh, speaking of what I was literally just saying, what a great stand to completely contradict.
Okay. Yeah, so we went from like the most difficult matchup ever in the history of like Gojo versus to, do you think Gojo, morally speaking, would beat the shit out of a baby?
Yes, 110% yes, especially if that baby was like trying to harm Gojo or his friends in any way possible. There's nothing in my mind that tells me Gojo's character would not be able to make that decision.
So I'm going to say this. I'm actually going to be in favor with JJK here heavily. The specifics on how Death 13 work are, for anybody who doesn't know, is that once you fall asleep, the user, and Death 13, the stand, can invade your dreams and control you within the dreamscape. And the classic line, if you die in the dream, you'll die in real life.
Yeah, I was going to say, think Freddy Krueger.
It's basically is Freddy Krueger. I think he actually is based off of him. Don't know the details on that, so don't quote me on that. I don't think this would work in general, because I think it technically still needs to travel. And I have to ask this question. Do you think Infinity is on? It's on constantly, right? Even when he's sleeping?
Yeah, 110%. After hidden inventory, he just gets Limitless completely on auto 110%. That's why it's like when we spoke before about Green Day, when it comes down to subatomic particles, that's like the kind of downside he takes for having it be automatic, is he either has to like specify and change the conditions of the Limitless to fit the subatomic particle, which is kind of even debated if he can even do that completely.
That's crazy.
So like, yeah, I mean, like, I guess the big question, because you would ask like, okay, like if he's in the dream world, does he have access to the Limitless. He has access to the 6 eyes always, no matter what, confirmed. Even if he has 0 cursed energy, he at least has the 360-degree vision and all of his, deduction abilities. And like, it's literally like a scouter from DBZ where he gets like a person's like power level and like full character bio from Wikipedia just by looking at them.
To explain this, so in the dream world, how it is explained, as long as you don't have a stand there or something to defend yourself that you somehow brought in, the only thing you can bring into that verse is your stand. So Gojo doesn't have a stand in this case. He can manipulate you, but even off of what you just said, if he constantly has a 6 eyes forevermore, so he can bring that in with him because it's even physical, I don't think Death 13 would be able to manipulate him. If you were to say like if there's an off and on button with it and he turns it off when he's asleep, I would make the argument that Death 13 could kill him and then it would be game over. But if he just has the 6 eyes and every ability on top of that with it,
isn't the way that Kakyoin beats it, he leaves his stand on while he falls asleep, and that's how he beats it. So then, yeah, I guess in that case, yeah, Limitless, he would definitely have it without question.
He hollow purple the baby.
If we're giving him the 6 eyes, he'd probably be able to tell the baby was sus from the get-go. The baby wouldn't even be able to pull the I'm a baby.
This fight's just in Gojo's favor. If he can bring stuff into the dream world, it's over. The baby's cooked. Hollow purple.
The baby's cooked. Ooh. That's crazy. Never thought that'd be a statement that we'd have to say in a video.
Yeah.
Let's roll this wheel, baby. What's going on? So we got 2 wins for Gojo, 1 loss so far. All right, well, I guess we could even say that's a tie, 50-50. We weren't even really concrete on that. And it looks like, for me, that's another loss. But let's hear what you have to say about that.
So this one's interesting. So it has to work on a subatomic level. To give the TLDR on Metallica, Metallica basically is just able to control any metal, I think, in a 6-meter distance. So anything with like a magnetic pull, Metallica and Risotto can control it. So that being the case, within its fights, and I actually will give credit to where it's due here. A lot of these stand users don't have combat ability. Risotto does. Risotto's a trained mercenary, not a trained mercenary, but a trained gangster. He's been killing people for years at this point. So much so that he just straight up tried to rebel against Diavolo because he's just like, I'm kind of that guy. I can do this. And then almost beat, no, not Diavolo, but a lesser version of him in a fight with not time skip, but precog. Risotto has a lot of skill here in terms of combat ability, so keep that in mind. He can just control anything with a magnetic pull, including any iron in your body. And what comes with that is he can make a lot of things within your body, like knives, scissors, etc., and they can just come ripping out of you. I'm assuming JJK is very similar to real life, at least in some aspects. And with enough iron that has been taken out of your body, Gojo will literally die of I forgot what the medical condition is. You might have to put it on screen, but it's the one where
Risotto reduces the hemoglobin in your blood, and then basically it reduces the blood's ability to pass oxygen throughout the body. So you basically suffocate. Yeah, you just suffocate, and like Meta's mentioned, your blood just turns like a gross piss yellow.
Oh my god, I also forgot about the camo. Yeah, he has active camo too.
The camouflage is crazy. I guess the 6 eyes would neg that, but ultimately it's the ability to control the iron in someone's body where I really feel like it kind of surpasses the Limitless. I guess you could make an argument depending on would magnetism go by, but I would say magnetism is whatever kind of particle you would even say magnetism is. I think should.
So I will say this: Gojo is affected by gravity, and gravity is a form of magnetism. It's like a super version of it. So you can say on a subatomic level that Risotto could technically do it. But then the discussion becomes a proper versus discussion in terms of scaling and stats.
Yeah, is Risotto able to get close enough to Gojo without getting fucking killed to actually cause the death? Which I guess it depends on how quick you think it takes Risotto to form a pair of scissors in your throat. Because obviously the whole hemoglobin thing is that's something that Risotto does throughout the course of the fight with Doppio, I'm pretty sure. So, but also at the same time, to use that same fight with Doppio, even Doppio does survive the scissors in his throat. So I guess it depends on how durable Gojo is, with also a reverse curse technique that allows him to repair any injured organs in his body. Yeah, besides his brain, at least, how bad the brain damage gets. Unless Risotto literally just like summons like literally scissors inside this man's brain that immediately cut the brain stem.
Yeah. So this one's very interesting, and I think this is where the proper stat scaling and the combat scaling is required here, because Risotto and his crew, all of the squadron, they're lethal. They will brutally kill you. I actually say if we actually brought Little Feet here and gave him prep time, he could actually kill Gojo from the inside out. It just really depends on how you want to see Risotto in this scenario with Metallica. I personally think it would work, but it would take too long, and just because Gojo just outscales him, he would beat Risotto's ass. It would affect him, yes, but I don't think it would hurt him, unless by some means Risotto just goes for like a Mortal Kombat brutality, just like your brain now has like a whole bunch of knives in it for whatever reason. Like he just transfers all the iron and stuff to the fatty brain. Shocker for anybody that doesn't know, the brain's made out of fat. Just all the metal to the fat parts of the brain, and just like shreds it. That's the only win condition. And since he never did that against Doppio or something, I don't think he does that regularly. So I think this goes in favor to Gojo, but Gojo will be damaged here. Infinity is not going to work. Yeah, I'm giving this to Gojo, just in all fairness, unless Risotto does some crazy out of character shit.
No, I'm definitely changing my mind because now that I mentioned the reverse curse technique, it also makes sense. Like if Gojo is able to just canonically heal, regenerate, I don't really think Risotto is going to be able to do enough damage to him. Yeah, if Risotto has to get that close and the camouflage doesn't even work because Gojo has the 6 eyes that would most likely let him see through the camouflage, Gojo can get out of the 6-meter range and then just fire a red or a blue.
Or a purple. It's over.
You love purple, bro.
I love the muscle man meme, bro. I love it. It's hilarious.
All right, let's see what's going on next. Let's see what's going on. That one was interesting because we actually had to bring it into the scaling as opposed to just the overall ability. Is it gonna happen? Is it gonna happen? Nope.
Oh, okay. So this one is interesting. And it's not the one I wanted, but it is funny. TLDR, Cream is a stand that has the ability to eat anything, and it will literally fucking disappear from existence. Its user is a vampire, so he can regenerate. Okay, he's a vampire, but he doesn't know how to actually properly use any of his abilities. So this fight has to take place during at night for it even to work in the first place. So he's a vampire. Vampires come with a whole bunch of other abilities, regeneration, but
good durability, immortality if he doesn't get like completely dusted.
Looking at Cream himself, Cream has the ability just to eat anything and it will be instantly destroyed. Its mouth is, I wouldn't say a black hole because it's described as like a completely different dimension, but like it's a dimension where nothing can exist other than vanilla ice. That's it. It's not very accurate. It's actually extremely poor. It's like shooting a shotgun in the dark. More or less, vanilla ice can also climb into it, form the dimension or whatever. It looks like a black hole, but it's not a black hole, and it's able to just eat anything and start destroying the environment around it. So the idea here is this. Technically speaking, if Vanilla Ice gets into Cream and then starts traveling towards Gojo, the question is, do we think Cream and its dimension could get past Limitless and Infinity? I don't exactly know.
There's 2 questions that I would say are important to answering that. One would be how fast, because so basically Limitless is just slowing Cream down to the point where he never reaches Gojo. But I guess the question would be is Cream able to move faster than Infinity slows Cream down? Is that even a possible thing that can happen? And 2, is Cream, when you say Cream is just devouring everything, and that's on contact, just to be very clear for everyone that's not completely familiar with Jojo, like it's like Cream literally can just roll in a ball and everything that the ball touches is just gone. It's just deleted from Control-Alt-Delete. So like, are we saying that Cream canonically also devours just in general, just can you consider space something that Cream is eating? Because if that's the case, if Cream is not Creams, how did he make his way into this video?
Holy shit, he's here. Get him out. Get him out. Ah.
If it can eat the space and is also, if you're also giving it the generosity that it can move faster than the slowing down of the space, which again, if you even believe that's something that's possible to do, then yeah, sure, Cream would just eventually just pass through because it would just eat everything. But is that, again, does that scientifically and physically make sense?
So, okay. With JoJo's, physics is out the fucking door.
Yeah, maybe I should have used different terms, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know what you were saying. Unless this is George Joestar, which outright states stands just defy physics, but that's not the continuity we're working with here. So I do have panels up. If we want to say, hypothetically, the art is 100% accurate to Araki's vision, and me being the power scaler I am, and just fucking kind of interpreting this the scene in question. A lot of the time where Vanilla Ice and Cream devour somebody, so I'm looking at Silver Chariot's I think left thigh is being devoured. There is a circle around that area. It's not just the thigh being devoured, it is the thigh and what looks like to be, and there's multiple shots of this, the air nearby being devoured. So it can be presumed, even at a microscopic level or a atomic level, that even the air is being devoured. Then yes. And even in the anime, if we're separating manga and anime continuity to be different things, if we use an anime version of Cream, even then there is like the strip of air wherever it travels is visually different from the background, so you can say it's even eating the air. With that being the case, depending on your interpretation, he could literally just eat Infinity and then maybe eat Gojo. He is extremely fast, by the way, too. To put this in perspective, Silver Chariot and Polnareff are massively faster than Lightspeed characters, and Cream was able to move so fast that even Polnareff was able to react. He was able to react eventually after like a resolve amp. So like he basically got pissed off, Super Saiyan 2 Gohan style, and just completely killed him. Honestly, one of my favorite fights in the entire franchise.
It's a great one of the best fights of Part 3 for sure. Yeah, I guess like with Limitless, like not being physical space and just being like the slowing down, that's like I said, that's where it becomes tough to say, because it's like is the speed faster?
Here that we need.
Yeah.
It definitely moves fast as hell. It not even Polnareff can react to it, and this is the same guy that was. Polnareff was not able to react to it very well, and this is the guy who was able to react to light. So depending on how you want to see, like,
here comes the MFTL. Here it comes.
Yeah, it depends on how you want to see it. You could say that Cream travels at the speed of light here. So it just depends on how you want to see it, and then how you want to see Infinity and how physics works in JJK. This is a weird one. There's another stand on this list that does something very similar, but like way better, but also way dumber. So it just depends on how you see it.
It's similar to Tusk, where it's like it just depends on what you personally, how you perceive how these abilities actually work in tandem with each other, because
in my opinion, I do think he eats everything in front of him. Like that black hole, that dimension that's just flying around all these characters and Polnareff, I think could eat it and then get to him, I think. But I'm also kind of 50-50 on that. I could easily switch up on either. And you also have to remember, Vanilla Ice is a dumbass, and if he doesn't do that off rip, technically speaking, Gojo probably will have enough with his toolkit to beat him in general. So it's about 50-50 in my mind. You could swing either way, just depends on the finer details.
Yeah, Hollow Purple is like canonically an antimatter ability where it just deletes things from existence, or supposedly there's multiple different interpretations depending on who you talk to. They'll say it's purely just antimatter, just deletes everything, but at the same time there's characters like Sukuna who have canonically been able to tank the ability. So like if it's antimatter and just deleting everything, it should be durability negging. So like there's a couple different ways to look at it, but if we are to imagine it as this imaginary technique that is able to delete matter to a degree, it should be able to hit Cream even when he's like balled up.
Yeah, he should be able to. Even like Vampire Vanilla Ice should get hit by that, and he should be like deleted or something, or at least take massive damage. So yeah,
to where they can damage him, and then he's like, all right, he hangs him out to Vanilla Ice out to dry till morning.
Yeah, he's cooked.
He's cooked. All right, let's spin this wheel, baby. Let's actually, you know what?
We get the hand.
We have to, because Gojo's doing actually much better than we both thought.
Oh, son of a bitch. Okay.
Jotaro.
All right. So I'm gonna do the meme if anybody's coming over from my channel. So Star Platinum is arguably top 10 stands ever, depending on how you want to look at this. So I'm gonna bring in some funky scaling because it's funny into this video. So basic Jotaro scaling is this. There is multiple. I'll send them to Noop probably immediately after this video because this is probably going to be the most like popular fight. Jotaro is massively faster than Light Plus. This is stated in guidebooks. It is stated in stand stats. It is stated in the verse off of scaling alone. He's ridiculously fast. It was his entire thing before time stop. Moving on to that, time stop. Jotaro in his prime, I'm assuming these are all these characters at their strongest, had the ability to stop time for 5 whole seconds. That's ridiculously busted. If you've ever wondered why it's so strong, it'd be like me being able to just hit Noop anywhere on the body and he's unprepared to fight back. That's just how it works. Like time stop is ridiculously busted. In terms of durability and AP, this is where it gets really funny and like really crazy. So depending on what scans and data you use from the manga and specific characters and how they are compared to, there is a character called the Sun. He is not on this list, but he appears in part 3. I will send Noop the scans to put on screen, but the Sun is roughly adequate to the actual Sun in terms of being able to light up an entire area. It then was able to shoot laser beams, I am not joking here, at Polnareff. Polnareff was able to block these laser beams. These laser beams counted by pixel measurements. I know a lot of people don't like that.
Oh my God.
Bring it in. I know. It gets funny.
The video's over, guys. Thanks for coming. I'll see you later.
Through the pixel measurements can be calculated in a very different amount of ways. On the lower end, which I think is realistic, it's like large town level to like large city level. On the higher end, using specific scaling on how this stand lights up the entire Sahara Desert, you can get Jotaro to like small island level in terms of AP because he scales off of Silver Chariot and Polnareff. In terms of durability, it ranges in between that small town level to large city level on the lower end to higher end being island level, depending on who you're asking. So like Jotaro is ridiculously overpowered in terms of physical strength. To be honest, it's not that far-fetched. Everybody in the verse is scared of this guy. Even in the guidebooks and stuff, it's like basically blatantly said, like, don't mess with Jotaro. You will literally get folded. Just don't do it. It's actually kind of funny. But you're probably wondering, metas. This doesn't seem that powerful, even though he has all these abilities and is ridiculously strong. Why does that matter? So here's the problem, and this is the funny scaling. And even I don't agree with it, but if you want to use it, this is how he's able to beat Gojo. So in part 6, in his stand stats, depending on the wording, time stop works in 2 different ways. The way that I think, and the majority of the fandom thinks, is time stop is just an ability like Jotaro just activates it. I just snapped my fingers and time is stopped. That's just how the ability works. There's no other details. It's just, he just has the ability to make all of time in the universe. It is a universal feat. I will also give that to Noop, where all of time in the universe stops for 5 seconds. Here's the other interpretation of it. I don't agree with it, but it is there in earlier translations of part 6. And depending on the wording of it, even in current translations, you can come to this as well. Jotaro and how all of time stopped itself for 5 seconds is that Jotaro moves so fast that all of time proceeds to stop. Now, what is the difference here? The difference between stopping time for 5 seconds versus stopping time because you move so fast is insane. In power scaling, that is a immeasurable speed feat. Not immeasurable. Incalculable. He moves so fast that time just stops working. It's just like, okay, what does that mean? He basically breaks the speed formula because he moves so fast. So Limitless doesn't work here. Jotaro can literally just move that fast, punch Gojo, and Gojo's gonna get folded. He's gonna be like, what the hell just hit me? And now, I don't entirely agree with that scaling. This inaccessible speed's kind of on the crazier side of Jojo scaling. It's also right next to my not favorite feat of saying that Jotaro and Dio are continental. Don't agree with that scaling whatsoever, but it is there if you want to use it. I don't think it's personal. I think Gojo probably wins this fight because of his Limitless and how Jotaro wouldn't be able to hit him at all. But if we wanted to use the inaccessible speed scaling, he would be able to just hit him normally through this version of time stop, and the fight would probably go in Jotaro's favor because he just outscales Gojo.
Yeah,
Jotaro's funny.
Jotaro, yeah, just honestly listening to that entire session was was definitely interesting, just to see like how generous you can really be when it comes to like scaling, because holy crap. I will definitely go right into Gojo, because when it comes to Jujutsu Kaisen and power scaling, there's so many different interpretations, especially thanks to the season 2 anime almost gassing up so many characters to the point that like it's kind of like just a free-for-all at this point. So like even at its most generous statement, right, I will give characters reaction time to lightning. That's fine. That doesn't make them faster than lightning, just because they can react to it. The best feat we have against the lightning bolt is Hikari noticing the lightning bolt and then shifting his body maybe an inch so that his head didn't get obliterated and he just lost an arm. And that by no means gives anybody in Jujutsu Kaisen a lightning time feat, unfortunately. So
that would be like a low lightning timer if we're using like specific like power scaling statements. That's like, I think even some people even put it like down a few. You're like high, I don't remember the Mach speeds, but like you're like at a high Mach level, but you're not like at an even higher Mach level.
And also like reaction speed is also almost always going to be better than actual combat speed. Your ability of reacting to something is going to be different than the speed that you're always moving at most of the time on average. And when it comes down to it, the scaling that you gave, whatever interpretation you feel, whether it's the generous or the more conservative, Jotaro easily outstats Gojo. Yeah, without a doubt.
And this is not me pulling it out of my ass. So here's the one thing I will say this. I don't know how other manga could do it, but I don't know. I was about to say Jotaro was the fucking author of JoJo's. That's crazy. Araki does power scale. I'll give you more statements here on screen, but like there's multiple times where like Araki blatantly does very basic power scaling and does keep these characters like stats and abilities in mind when he's doing fights. So like Jotaro being massively faster than Light Plus, or just being at bare minimum like faster than Light, is canonical and does make sense within the verse. So like a lot of these JJK characters, when fighting at least with the main JoJos or even like the Joe Bros or stuff, or the people part of like the main crews, are getting for the most part speed blitzed. And looking at Jotaro at the highest level you can get his speed being inaccessible because he's breaking the fucking speed formula thanks to time stop, like Gojo's getting creamed.
So like, I'm going to tell you...
No infinite distance is not going to do shit.
I'm going to tell you exactly what is going to be said, because I'm going to give you every counter argument that I possibly can, because I've also seen some of the counter arguments as well, because I did Dio versus Jujutsu Kaisen, and Dio also has time stop. You gave the interpretation of time stop as it is, I imagine, from the data book, from the source material, everything like that. But I know a lot of people do mention that time stop works as kind of like an oscillating wave. You know what I mean? Where it starts from the user and then spreads out to the rest of the world. And in that case, people mention that if that is the case, then Limitless should should stop the oscillating wave. Even though I don't know if Limitless and the whole atomic, subatomic, blah blah blah. If my man can't even stop subatomic particles, how's Limitless stopping the concept of time? Which is like a man-made concept entirely. We don't even completely understand what time is.
Yeah, and even then, okay, this is crazy. I didn't think we're getting into theoretical. I love power scaling. We just have to enter theo. It depends. So I know where that oscillate. This is like low tier iceberg like ass power scaling we've entered. Oscillating waves is crazy. I haven't heard this argument in like 4 years, dude. Holy shit. But that's the anime's interpretation. Like I said previously with creams and stuff, it just depends. Because like, sure, that's maybe how it looks visually, but we don't exactly know if it actually is a wave or it instantly stops time. It's really weird. Because like then we're getting into finer details like not even I can answer. Because like you can say that, but like, is that actually the actual case? Because Araki's never said that, and then none of this in the guidebook statements is it like it's a wave. It takes time for all of time to instantly.
Let me tell you why it's important. It's important because if we're saying that time stop is like an oscillating wave, and we're saying that it is something that it's like, let's say, a blast of fucking spirit energy or whatever that like goes out and causes the time stop, and that's what hits you and as an opponent. I'm not saying that's not my interpretation, but let's say giving the most generous feats to Jujutsu Kaisen. If that's the case, Limitless should stop it. If time stop is this just thing that just like you said, it snaps and it happens, then by the definition of Limitless, where it's like it slows things down, if time is stopped completely, then it shouldn't matter. There's nothing to slow down. Time is stopped. You should just be able to go walk up to Gojo and punch him in the fucking face. And by your power estimation, again, without even getting into the specifics of durability and attack power for Jujutsu Kaisen, there is no way you're getting Gojo past at the most generous estimations, like large town level durability.
Yeah. I think you can get him a bit higher. I think Yuji, at least this was early, like later Yuji. I don't know what it is now, like the island level. And you can say like Gojo probably is at that level.
I would reject that like, completely.
I know that's a crazy, that's crazy.
The
power
best
scaling.
attack in the series canonically is Gojo's 200% hollow purple, which literally just scars literally like a good chunk of Shinjuku, which is like how he even gets to like town level as it is. And you could even, I'm sure there's even people that could argue you can make that even more conservative, how large of an area that hollow purple even destroyed.
I'm using deranged jutsu power, Jujutsu.
Yeah,
JJK.
I know people will say
scaling.
that Dagon made a domain of an island, so therefore everyone past Dagon is island level, and I just shoot that down immediately because that's just that's crazy talk.
Yeah, it just depends. Even if we use the higher end scaling, I just don't think then it would even work, because Jotaro even then in part 4 and part 5, not part 5.
Joke's on you, it's part 6, 4. Jotaro. He loses now. Nerf Jotaro.
No, actually, that's
actually
kidding. Even wrong. That's even more wrong, because he has like years of combat experience on top of that, so he'd actually even be.
Where was it all in part 6, Metas?
Well, it's actually it takes place in between parts 3 and then part 6. In that time, he was working for the Speedwagon Foundation and was doing stuff in between that.
I'm just being annoying. You're
5.
fine.
I know. I'm just being funny for anybody actually who has that question. Yeah, no, Jotaro in terms of durability too, he'd be able to probably tank some of that shit, unless you're saying it's like an instant deletion, which apparently JJK scaling is fucking.
If Sukuna can tank it, then again, by your scaling, Jotaro should be more than capable of taking a hollow purple. Again, like even if you're pushing it to large town level, or maybe even higher, you know, even if you were to give it to island level, then we can just use your generous interpretation. Either way, I think overall the answer would be then is if time stop just happens, it stops Limitless, and then Jotaro just
clobbers him.
Oof, yeah, I don't even want to imagine what would happen there. But if you're of someone who thinks that Limitless would stop time stop, as we kind of mentioned before, like if Jotaro can't beat Limitless, then all that scaling just doesn't really matter.
It doesn't matter unless you use like the crazy ass like inaccessible speed scaling, then that's different. But I don't even believe that. That's deranged talk. I'm not even part of that part of the power scaling community. That's crazy. That's on some Flash shit.
Crazy talk.
Yes, it's insane. You got to be a crazy power scaler to get anywhere near that.
And that's going to be the end of part 1, guys. Obviously, there's still almost 20 more stands to go over, so if you enjoyed this video, definitely hit that like button, subscribe to both me and Metas, and comment down below to let us know you want part 2 of this. Hit an end screen video if you want to continue your binge, and we'll see you guys in the next one.